All right, joining us on the ZC show from Champaign Athletics, Frank Cerise.
Hi.
Frank, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you, Zach?
Hey, I'm doing great. Even better now that you're in front of me. And before we get too far into this, you and I now have a new common enemy. I have hated Mick Cronin for years. I mean, like years. I've hated this man. Right? Arizona, UCLA, no good. Did you see him last night? His little temper tantrum in the hallway. What did you think of
Yes,
that?
I did. I mean, what are you gonna do? I feel like everything I read, and I don't know much about UCLA hoops or the drama over there, but it sounds like he's on his way out, and people want him on his way out. The Izzo have been there forever. So if you can't handle it, I don't know. It's just Big Ten basketball. Like, you got your ass kicked. Get out of here.
Yeah, I know. Right. Take your 23-point loss and walk out. Frank,
Yeah.
we love a good full circle moment. And for those that don't listen to the To Be Frank podcast, shame on you. But if you don't, you missed the story about young Frank, current Frank, and Chris Osgood. Can you tell me that story?
Yeah, absolutely. So, very recently I was invited to go watch Osgood's podcast live. So if you guys are unaware of that, another plug for another podcast, Ozzy and Keats, uh, is uh, is a new show that Chris Osgood does with John Keating. Now that John Keating's retired, anyways, got invited to Grosse Pointe Yacht Club. Very nice place to go watch them record live. So I took that opportunity to bring Osgood's hockey stick that he gave me back in 1999 before a playoff game. So it was pretty cool. So when I was 8 years old, young Frank's at the glass of game one of the Red Wings playoffs versus the Ducks. We just had gone back to back. So this was 91 game one. Ozzy's stretching at the bench there. I'm standing front row with a sign that says, "Let's go duck hunting." Ozzy's looking at it. He sees it. About 5 minutes left in warmups. I go up to my seat. We're in the upper bowl, of course. And uh, lights go dark. They're about to start the show for the game one of the playoffs, big hype thing. And then an usher walks up and he's carrying the stick. And he's like, "Hey, kid, Ozzy saw your sign. He wanted you to have this." Gives me the stick. Whole section goes nuts. It's like, top of the mountain for an 8-year-old kid at that time. And he's like, "And if he's ever not busy, he'll sign the stick for you." And, being a kid, like in the middle of the first and second, I'm asking my dad, like, "Hey, do you think he's busy? Will he sign it now?" And dad's like, "You're nuts," whatever. Um, so then, whatever, 20-ish years later, I get invited to the yacht club to go see the podcast. There's like a lull in the show. I bring the stick with me and, Ozzy signs it. So it was pretty cool. I met him, talked to him, told him the story. So Ozzy signed the stick. He wrote game one, 1999 on it, put the signature on it. Really cool moment, honestly.
I mean, for those of us that are, you and I are about the same age, for those of us that grew up around that time and watched that team and loved that team, what a moment that would have been two times.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like, it was getting the stick like that night. When we were kids, everything Red Wings was just unbelievable. So Yzerman was my favorite player. He had a hat trick that night. Wings win. They just won 2 Stanley Cups. I just started playing hockey like a year and a half ago. Like, I was peaking. It was like the peak of my life. So it was awesome. And just to be like a little kid again, just to go up to Osgood and be like, "Hey, I'm 35 years old now, but you're still my favorite goaltender of all time. I think you're a Hall of Famer. You're awesome." And for him to just be so cool about it and sign the stick, it was great. I got it back here in the pile somewhere. So
Yeah, I mean, it was.
yeah,
I watched it, and it was just. It was such a cool thing to see, and Frank would talk about the current Red Wings. We found ourselves the last couple of seasons in a similar spot here at about this time, where they were trending in a certain way. Now they got to this spot two different ways the last 2 years, but it all ended the same way. And I'm wondering if you think they have the staying power now to, I mean, at least close out the season and play a damn playoff game at LCA.
yeah. Well, I am never going to say they're not. For the last 3 years, I've said they've had the power to get through this and get through. There's no reason I'm stopping with this team. The biggest difference, though, is the young guys have been through it now. They're stronger. They're bigger, stronger, faster. We have better goaltending. Gibson's been the hottest goalie in the NHL, and this is Todd McClellan with a full year. So this is where we can really push through, and I think those three differences are key. And we need Larkin. I mean, Larkin just scored in the USA game I'm watching here. We need Larkin to really show up and stay healthy, and that's if we can if Larkin can get hot at the end of the year here, stay strong, lead the guys. Because remember, a couple years ago he was out for a week, and I think we lost every game during that. So if he can stay hot, stay healthy, Gibson stay hot as well, and then the young guys can really take a step forward. There is no reason we should not make these playoffs, even with how tight the Atlantic is. The Red Wings are a good team this year.
I mean, even with and Raymond, you talk about the Olympics. Raymond's having an excellent tournament. He looks excellent out there. I mean,
Yeah.
thankfully at the moment he's not looking excellent enough as USA's up 1-0 as we're talking. But there's a lot to look forward to, and I think about this, and I think a lot of us do about like the April and the D type feeling. And I'm looking more for like a June in the D. My birthday's in mid June, and there were many years where my birthday coincided with a World Series game or a Stanley Cup Finals game or an NBA Finals game. And I'm wondering, I'm not saying that we have to get back there now, but I wonder, Frank, how close you think they are to days like that. Now you can throw the Lions. I know it's been rough, but the last couple months, but still, I wonder how close you think we are to like an April in the D type scenario around here. Are we already there?
Well, we're not already there because it's not April, but I will say, like, we are the closest. I mean, if everything ended right now, if April 1st started tomorrow, we'd have a true April in the D. The Red Wings would be like what, the 2 or 3 seed, the Pistons would be the 1 seed, and the Tigers would come in as the favorites to win the Central, right? So it's to me, we're right here. It's right now. Um, the Pistons are young and talented, so that's a roster that could stick around for a while. They seem to all like each other. They seem to love playing for Detroit. The Red Wings, like the Yzer plan, as no one was patient for, is built to be a team that lasts for a very long time. The one that's probably the closest to the fall off might be the Tigers with just the pitching turnaround, but still they're like young and have people. So we could be entering our phase of regular April in the D's where we have 2 Detroit playoff teams and a Tigers team that is favored to win the Central. So I'm hoping the next few years we get a true April in the D. But let's start with one right now.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
No doubt. I mean, and you're right. If you talk about the kids, if you get something out of Jackson Jobe eventually, and if McGonigal pans out, and even a Reese Olson, if guys like that can stay healthy, there's sure going to be pitching turnover at some point. 42-year-old Verlander's not the answer. School is probably on his way out. That's a different conversation for another time. But there are pieces to backfill some of that if they can be smart. And my thing is with the Tigers. I know at this town the cry is always for aggression, but their farm is so deep. I would like to see them at some point use those chips to not just stock Detroit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and I was a big Harris hater. I've talked a lot of shit about him and Illich, but I mean, in the past month, they went and got the number 1 pitching prospect, and then they brought back Justin Verlander. I still think they're a bat shy, but maybe that's in the system. Maybe that's McGonigal. Sucks to hear Reese Olson's done for the year. Jobe's on the 60-day DL because Jobe is like one of my favorite pitchers. I thought he was awesome last year. So hopefully he can come back mid-season and be good. But they just got to hit. Honestly, that's like, I mean, I think the pitching staff's gonna be good if they can stay healthy, but I'm a little weary of the hitting. Like the way Torque and Green ended the year, like it was very similar to how bad they were the year before. And I mean, Glaber kind of fell off as well, and Baez started chasing pitches again. So hopefully the offseason they can reset and finish, like put together a full season, because last year they fell about a month and a half short.
Yeah, shortened my lifespan by about a month, probably.
They were
Frank,
miserable to watch. They were miserable to watch.
let's hope for no more of that. So, Frank, big weekend for you over there at Champaign HQ. The Champaign Showcase is this Saturday, February 21st. It's at Detroit's legendary Clark Park, and you can't beat Southwest Detroit for a little hockey. And this is the 5th lap for you guys in the Classic. Frank, how did this start? I mean, anybody that knows you knows you're a hockey guy. You just told that Osgood story, but how did this start?
Pretty like simple. Like there's not some grand story of how this happened. Someone reached out to me and just said like, hey, I have ice booked for this day and I have 4 hours booked. I don't really know how to fill it. Like, what should we do? And I was just kind of like, well, why don't we see if we can get a little tournament going? And we did a little 4-team tournament. All businesses represented it. So we had 4 businesses represent it. And that was it. I mean, we just played like a little Final Four with each other, handed out a trophy, did a raffle while we were there, and that was it. We just raised money for it. No, so then we, grew it to 8 teams, and then this year we're up to 12 teams, and we're in year 5. So it's pretty simple. Like it's one of the only. I think it is the only outdoor ice arena in the city of Detroit. It's a hidden gem if you're a hockey player, right by the water there, right by the bridge, Southwest Detroit, just like you said. It's a beautiful ice arena, full board, Zamboni lights. If you haven't been there and you're a hockey person, you're really missing out. But I really feel like it's just a space of Detroit that really represents what Hockey Town is. And as we know, like these parks always need funds, and ice rinks are very expensive, and that's the draw to that rink. So It's self-serving as much as it is a charitable event. Like I love playing outdoor hockey. I love getting my friends together. I love drinking a bunch of beers and doing that outside. So why not get as many people as possible who are willing to give money and get them together at the park and play hockey? So this Saturday we have 12 teams starting at 10 a.m. going all the way till 8 p.m. Playing hockey. Like we've had the coldest winter in years, and of course this week it's 50 degrees every day. So we're hoping the ice holds up, but you can't control the weather. So we'll see what we got.
Well, and kind of on that note of getting out there and playing hockey, a lot of people, including me at times, say things like, social media is fake. And sometimes I think there's some truth to that. But you get out there with the people doing, on the street interviews, things like that, or events like we're talking about. How important for you is that like one-on-one connection for Champaign athletics?
Well, I'm from the city of Detroit. I've always loved the city. The office is down here. And I just, I feel like a lot of people and brands out there use Detroit for their branding, but don't really do anything for the city. So like, this is just kind of my small way to give back to the things I love, which is the city and, parks and rec, sports, hockey. Like it's kind of a no brainer. So, any way we can get out there and, give back to my city and contribute to the sport I love, like it's pretty easy. And I love the people of Detroit and all the people that come down here and the shenanigans that happen. So it's honestly good content, and I get out there and get to interact with everyone. So it's a win-win.
We're not that far away from opening day, one of my favorite content days of the year.
I know. Opening day is a fun one. We get out again, have a few beers, celebrate the sports we love. Like it's all win-win.
Yeah, I mean that's at the end of the day what it's all about. And I want to say, you talked about the raffle coming back, and there are some beverages, and also it's all very kid friendly. That's one thing I want to point out, which is good for you, a new dad. But I brought my son last year, and we had an absolute blast.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is a park. Like, it's a huge park. Like, the ice rink is just one part of it. So, and there's a ton of room for the kids to run around. But, some of the draws to it, yeah, thanks for bringing it up. Is like we have a huge raffle, which we've completely moved to online. So, even if you can't attend the showcase itself, we're doing the raffle online. And that was just to make it fair and to draw in more funds for the park. So, every dollar we make on this thing outside of the cost to run it, which we try to keep as low as possible, we give back to the park. So last year we were able to raise like $23,500. Hoping to elevate that this year with the extra teams, elevate it with the online raffle. But we have some great prizes this year: 4 front row tickets to the Red Wings game. We have some JW Westcott boat tours, which is cool. We have some uh, Grayson Sherpa giveaways. Solo stove, which is always a part of it. Better Made snack box. Uh, Eastside Bagel snack box. A lot of people have donated to this. Royal Oak Leprechauns are giving away a baseball prize pack. So a lot of great prizes. We'll have a coffee stand there. We'll have beers, Labatt's and Surfsides. Out for everybody. We just ask that you donate if you're gonna have a few beers. Um, there is like vintage merch being sold there from Hustle Threads.
That guy had
So
some cool stuff last year.
he always has some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Bill does a great job running Hustle Threads. If you don't follow him, go give him a follow. He rocks. And then we have the DJ like going all day, and that's like the most fun. So music, DJ, hockey, outdoors. Yeah, it's just just like a fun, gritty Detroit day, and try to raise as much money as we can for the park.
All right, so Frank, the real question is, y'all snapped your offer last year. I mean, is it 2 in a row? Do I remember that correctly?
Yeah. So one of the I don't know. Part of the lore of the showcase is for the first 3 years, I didn't win a game. So Champaign Athletics never won a game. And then last year, we were finally able to break it. I think we won 6-4, 6-3, something like that. So I was very happy about it. Feel good this year. We like our roster. We like our team. We have confidence coming in, but we know on the other side, Bolin Financial is going to come in angry, pissed off. So the way this thing works, as I mentioned earlier, it was a tournament. Um, I kind of realized that the more teams I could get in, the more money I could raise for the park, and the more people could be involved. Also realized a lot of the teams are 30 and over. There was guys just like playing one game, and if you won, you had another game like 2 hours later, which just kind of like sucks. You're standing around in your equipment. People got kids and families. They can't hang there that long. They're tired. They want to party. So I just said, you know what, we're gonna turn this into bowl games. So we got 12 teams in 6 games. You're just playing against your one team. You get more, it's stop clock, periods are longer. So it's a full game with refs and scorekeepers. Like, So each game is broken out into their own thing. So we'll play, Champaign Athletics will play my buddy's team, Bowling Financial, hopefully till the end of time. So the rivalry will just keep building and brewing. But in the new format, technically we're 1-0. So that's great.
I mean, look, that's where you want to start. Frank Cerise and Champaign Athletics can be found everywhere on social media. I swear by the weekly non-debatable Detroit Heat Report. Don't forget to check out the Fizz and the To Be Frank podcast, both of those wherever you get yours. Frank, we'll see you this Saturday at Clark Park.
Thanks a lot, Zach. Really appreciate it, and appreciate you all for showing up.